this is Tobias, DL3MHT. About 2 weeks ago, I had to replace the BIOS battery in my Shack PC, and that was quite an ordeal because this thing is ITX motherboard. So in the end, I had to take off the CPU cooler, disassemble half of the case, remove the motherboard, disassemble top and bottom bracket from the motherboard in order to get access to this battery, which was glued to the side of some USB output. So in the end, before reassembling, I basically drilled a hole into the plastic hood that was covering the output ports and basically wired in a long cable so that I never have to take this thing apart again in order to replace the battery. But after taking the CPU cooler off, you have the problem that you have to repaste it with thermal paste. And I really had problems. So at the moment I have some Kryonaut carbon sheet in the machine, but of course I ripped it during installation, so it has to go out and be replaced with proper thermal paste. The first time I tried this, I failed dismally because thermal paste these days is quite thick and viscous, so I really had a hard time spreading it. So I think what I will do now is make an experiment. This Arctic MX6 thermal compound is just an example. I will show you how well it spreads. And I used this aluminium cooler that I found in the junk box to demonstrate. Of course I have to focus. Let me try to get the focus right. This new lens has a quite shallow depth of focus, so yeah, I think now we are right. Okay, so let's try this. This is room temperature. Room temperature is at the moment, ooh, I can hardly see it, about 27 degrees, so it's not even that cold. Let's try to apply a blob of thermal paste and spread it. And when I tried this 2 weeks ago, I failed dismally. Maybe the temperature was a bit cooler, but yeah, let's just give it a try. Yeah, I already see it's no fun. Yeah. I mean, some people prefer the blob method, a pea-sized blob in the middle. Others say mark it with an X. Others say put a string of thermal paste at the end and roll it with the old screwdriver over the top of the processor. The thing is, this thing is so disgustingly viscous that, see, the more you try to spread it, the less it works. See, it spreads for the first 2 seconds, and in the end, the longer you try, the more of the thermal paste you have on your spatula and the less thermal paste you have on your cooler. Yeah? So I was trying for an hour or so, and then I gave up and ordered the cryo sheet. But then I came up with a new idea that might actually help. Let me show you. Okay, and here we have my filament dryer box that I use for my filament rolls to get the moisture out. And I thought, hey, if the bloody thermal paste is too viscous, why don't we heat it up with the filament dryer and then see if it spreads a little bit better. So I opened the lid and already have thrown the thermal paste into the box. Let's power it up. 50 degrees. I probably won't need to run it for an hour, but maybe 10 minutes or so. And then we see if that helped with spreading the paste. Okay, and as you can see, we approach the 15-minute mark. So let me clean off the thermal paste from the cooler and from the spatula, and we try if 50 degrees Celsius heated up Arctic MX6 spreads a bit better than the 27 degrees warm one. Okay, and now I try to be quick. Open the box, take the paste out, apply a blob. It's still not warm enough, I think, but it's definitely a bit better. And now let's try our luck. Well, I'm not sure if that really helped. I think as soon as it's out of the tube, it's instantly back to room temperature. So that did not work, unfortunately. Well, it was a good idea, but unfortunately it did not work. Okay, plan B. Plan B is go crazy, use my hot air gun or my hot air rework station and heat up the CPU cooler a little bit, because I think once the cooler is on temperature, it will hold the it will hold the temperature a bit better than just the paste. So let me switch that on, and let's see, maybe, I don't know, this is set to 200 degrees. Not sure if the nozzle is great. I should use a wider nozzle, but okay, let's just experiment for a second. Okay, so let's see if that helped. Yeah, it's definitely warmed up a little bit. And yeah, that seems to have improved the situation a little bit. It's still very thick, but it spreads a little bit better. Okay. Yeah, I have lots of paste on the spatula. Okay, so what have we learned? If you repaste your CPU, either the CPU should have run before, or you heat up your cooler or CPU with a heat gun. Okay, I will not apply/waste more paste, but let me focus on it when I hold it. As you can see, that was working much better on the warmed up cooler than on the room temperature cooler. So, okay, one last test before I pack everything away. And the test is, does it work better with some gloves and just smearing the paste with your finger? So now is the final attempt. Let me quickly focus on the cooler again, right, like this. So our CPU cooler is warmed up. Give it one more drop of paste. And then just spread it with the finger. Oh, now it's really nice and toasty. That is almost too hot for my gloves, but I don't think it works very well. I think the paste has a, right, it's going directly to my glove and disappears from the cooler. So the affinity of that paste to my nitrile gloves is much higher than the affinity to the aluminium cooler. So that won't work either. Okay, now we tried everything that I could think of for the moment. That was the test run, and the real the real test comes when I apply the thermal paste that I bought. And this is something that I found in Igor's lab, thermal paste test. If I'm going through the hassle with thermal paste, I'll buy the top tested one, right? So I got this HYP17 paste, which is probably even more viscous than the MX6. So that will be fun. So this is yeah, the job for the weekend. Well, wish me luck that I'm not going nuts in doing this on my Shack PC, and until next time, bye.